Syria, UN chemical weapons inspectors are back on the ground in a Damascus suburb, looking again for evidence of a gas attack. In the meantime, the U.S. lays the groundwork for a possible military strike, and the UN chief pleads for more time for diplomacy. Let's bring in Clifford May of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He joins us from Washington. Clifford, first we have this UN resolution. Britain's putting it together. They want to condemn Syria. They also want permission for action. We have Russia, we have China, who have vetoed in the past any condemnation. Do you think that this one, for some reason, would get through?
I'd be very surprised if it did. I think there will be that attempt. I'm sure there's diplomacy going on trying to persuade the Russians and the Chinese that everyone should be on board, but my guess would be that the Russians and the Chinese will say no.
So UN Chief Ban Ki-moon says we want some time for diplomacy. The UN inspectors need a few more days on the ground and some time to analyze, and then we want to talk to everybody. Can the world afford to wait?
Well, I think we will wait a few days. I think the earliest we'll see a strike is probably next Thursday. I think that gives a few days for Ban Ki-moon to try to work out a diplomatic, not solution, but at least diplomatic agreement so the Security Council is not bypassed. And yes, the world can wait because this is not consequential in terms of the overall situation, I think, in Syria. The most important phrase in the clip you just played was that this is meant to deter the use of chemical weapons in the future. And so this is going to be, in some regard, a symbolic effort meant to say that the international community, or at least part of it, simply will not sit back and allow chemical weapons to be used and simply write a strong letter and put it in the mail.
Now, you said you believe that if there is military intervention, it'll come next week, specifically at the end of the week. Why do you lay it to that date?
Well, there's been some leaks around town to that regard from fairly reliable reporters who probably have pretty good sources. That's the main reason. But I also think there will be a few days necessary for Americans, British, perhaps Canadians, French, others to be talking with each other and agree on the parameters of the strike and some sort of coordinated effort so that it's not only the U.S. destroyers now off the Syrian coast that are involved. This will be meant to appear to be an expression of the international community. That takes a bit of time to work out. So I would be surprised, and of course I've been surprised in the past, if you saw anything before about Thursday.
Let's talk a little bit about fallout if and when this does happen. What do you anticipate seeing as far as reaction from Syria, from Russia, possibly China?
Russia and China will be angry. I don't know that they're going to take any actions in response to that, but they will be very, very, very annoyed. Syria is making certain threats. I don't see Syria doing anything very much about it. There have been threats against Israel. I think it would not be rational for Assad to open up another front when he's got his hands full with the rebellion inside the country, so I don't think he'll do that. Now, the Iranians and Hezbollah, which is an Iranian proxy terrorist group based in Lebanon that largely controls Lebanon, that's less predictable. And I think you might see terrorist attacks at soft Western targets organized by either Hezbollah or by the Iranian government through its Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and more specifically its Al-Quds division, which conducts terrorism overseas.
All right, so that would be possible. You said next week. It looks like if there is action, that's when it'll be. I'm sure we will be checking back with you again. Clifford May from Washington, thanks.